Yeah, good morning everyone. So, kind of couple of people know me from the last year when we had a small project for them as part of their summer interns. Quick introduction, I am an electronics engineer from VJTI in Mumbai. After my engineering, I worked with ABB and Siemens in the electronics industry for 3 years. And like most of you, then I moved to the management and I did my MBA from IIM Ahmedabad in 2012. And then I joined Aditya Birla Group through campus placements. And then I was with Aditya Birla for almost 10 years. There I had exposure to retail industry, which is supermarket, hypermarket. I had exposure to fashion industry, okay, Aditya Birla Fashion, which includes all the men fashion brands of Louis Philippe, Allen Solly, Peter England, Van Heusen. I had little bit exposure towards telecom as well, but most part of my career I spent in cement, and within cement I spent in logistics. And then I moved to Adani last year, around 1.5 years back, and I've been part of Adani Logistics. So that's a brief introduction, but when I joined and passed out of IIM Ahmedabad and I was part of Aditya Birla Group, always thought most of the people actually opted for marketing or finance, and we had option to pick up which sector and which domain you want to join. And when I did small 3-4 months stint across different sectors, and I found logistics very exciting, okay. It's just that sometimes you see all those advertisements and kind of get influenced by the glamour of marketing, but I can say you logistics is equally, or rather I would say more exciting than lot of marketing and other domains as well, okay. Because logistics is kind of part of any industry, and every industry, if you see, there is no industry which can survive without logistics, and I would say a bigger part of it could be supply chain and distribution, okay. What I'm going to divide the entire session is I'll go through some of the basics of logistics, okay. Not much is covered in the presentation, but I'll talk more about it. Then we'll cover what as Adani as a group we are doing in logistics and all. And then we'll open a session for question answer, what all doubts you have with respect to the industry, with respect to career, what the best I can kind of answer all your questions. To start with, I've tried to make it later interesting for all of you. तो boring हो जाएगा सभी के लिए session, right now. So where the term logistics came from, most of the history says that it came from war and battles, okay. There are many big innovations which has come from war. If you see and do some research on World War I, World War II, you see a lot of innovations have came through with respect to transportation, with respect to planning, with respect to even medicines, which has been discovered during the time of war, and then it became commercialized for the larger. So what it says, the line between disorder and the order lies in logistics, okay. Many wars are won because logistics was the best in class for that particular side. Even if you take a recent example of Russia and Ukraine, Russia actually spears through the Ukrainian cities and all, and once they were there in the middle of the cities, they were out of fuel and other food and everything, and that is where they had to again retrieve back because their logistics didn't reach the place where they wanted, okay. So if you see, I mean, if you see some of the statements, it means most powerful army is the one which can make sure that right goods at right time and right place, okay. This is a good statement to make, okay, maybe a good Instagram statement, but there's a lot of working which goes behind, a lot of planning, lot of assumptions, lot of expertise which goes behind in making this statement true. And the supply chain and this logistics domain goes as far as in history when Alexander also if you see some of the books of people who have written about Alexander, he had a specialized logistics arm. Okay, before every battle, they has to have a logistic strategy and then a battle strategy. So even if you see in most of the wars, what according to you must be the most large volume cargo which is transported to any war zone? Ammunition, right? Ammunition is the first which comes to our mind. No? तो लड़ना है तो बंदूक चाहिए वगैरह चाहिए. दूसरा हो सकता है मैन पावर सोल्जर्स, राइट. इंटरेस्टिंगली इट इज़ फ्यूल सबसे ज़्यादा लगता है, एंड देन मैन पावर एंड देन एम्यूनेशंस एंड देन राशन एंड एवरीथिंग. ओके, similarly in our transportation also fuel plays a very important role. So why I am covering this today as part of war is that as a country, okay, when we have to go ahead and kind of beat other competition across the globe, we have to be very superior in our logistics, because that becomes the backbone of how our industries becomes more cost competitive compared to rest of the world. And that is why I'm kind of covering it's like a war zone for us as a country when we are developing and kind of competing with other developed countries which are far ahead of us in terms of infrastructure, in terms of number of years they have to be developed. And that is where we ensure that our industries are given best in class logistics solutions, infrastructure, so that they can compete in the overall economic war, okay, I would say economic battle which they are fighting over the globe. And that is where how I would say Adani ports and logistics and other are kind of contributing in overall nation development or development of all our industries in the country. Any questions so far? I would like to be interactive, otherwise I don't want people to go sleep. Any questions? Okay. Are you people reading newspaper regularly? Okay. One mistake which I used to make, I'm telling, I used to not read newspaper regularly. Only while preparing CAD I started doing it. Okay. Before that I used to not do it regularly. But I am sure you people are doing. पहले तो न्यूज़पेपर के लिए वेट भी करना पड़ता था, अब तो सब कुछ मोबाइल पे आता है, राइट ना? So what have you read about logistic cost recently in last 3-4 days?
It has reduced by 7.8%.
What was it earlier?
8.4 to 8.9. It was around 9.
It was 9. It has reduced. So whatever the percentage, it has reduced. So where do we stand in terms of ranking globally in terms of logistics index? In last few years, we should know, because you people are kind of going into this domain, right? You should know as per of where do we stand. So we were around 8-10 years, we were around 54, okay, out of 139 countries. I would say that is also not bad. But when we are aspiring for top 3 economics in the world, 54 rank cannot be a good rank, right? From 54 we moved to 44, and recently we moved to 38. Okay. Our aspiration is to be in top 25 to initial aspirations. But now the difficult journey will start, because those top 25 are all developed nations, okay? And to beat them in the ranking will be always difficult. Initially, there will be a lot of maybe developing countries like us where we beat them. And that is where our overall vision and kind of aligns with the governments and nations' vision as well. Okay, I'm just putting some of the news article which came from last 2-3 days. So Piyush Goyal is telling his aim is to actually cut down to 5%. Okay. What do you think? How can we reduce our logistic cost? Okay, just there is nothing right or wrong. Okay, I'll kind of just few ideas. How does one bring the overall logistic cost down?
By improving efficiency.
But efficiency, okay, improving efficiency is one. What do we mean by efficiency then?
Increasing the energy source as a renewable energy, which can be used like solar power energy or electric.
So whatever the fuel is used in logistics, if we have a renewable energy, then it will be cheaper, right? That is our assumption as of now, right? That is our assumption. We don't know. But if it has been so cheaper, for example, everybody in our country would have put solar panel, right? Has everybody put solar panel on their houses? No, right? We do know. Maybe the initial capex is too high, But that is one of the way. Anything else?
Better infrastructure.
Hmm?
Better infrastructure.
Okay, now better efficiency, better infrastructure. Maybe we go a little deeper in it. If you have any specific point.
Sir, by achieving economies of scale, by increasing the speed of the logistics.
So speed is one of the
Using AI power in tracking our
increase.
AI power machine.
AI. So using AI and
For tracking AI technology for tracking and everything.
okay, tracking and all. Okay.
Asset utilization.
Huh?
Asset utilization.
Asset utilization is one thing. Okay, I am telling you, logistics is not very much rocket science. It's very simple if you see in the real world. Okay, and you always compare how do you spend your money on transportation, and you will realize, okay, what is the best way. So, what are the modes of transport? First of all, on the coastal or sea, road, rail, air. Among these, which is the most cost effective? Sea. Okay, so then one thing is, if you have to reduce the logistic cost, obviously lowest cost mode of transport has to increase. So that is one strategy. We have to start with very basic. Operational efficiency, asset utilizations, digitization are still very high level. But if you see very basics, okay, which means you have to start with a mode of transport which is the most economical, correct? And then which is now sea or coastal mode can only be used if you have a connecting waterways. But most of the part is not connected other than the western and the eastern southern part of our country. Okay, but if you have to go into the hinterland, what is the other mode most effective? Rail, right? Which means as a country we should use more and more rail as transportation. Any idea between rail and road? What is the percentage for our country today?
70% for roads and more than 60% for roads and decreasing.
Right. So 70% is road approximately. Still, we are not using the cheaper mode of transport, right? We are using the expensive mode of transport. There could be various reasons why you are using. Maybe the rail infrastructure is not developed. Maybe we do not have enough trains. Maybe we do not have. There are other things which comes with rail also. Okay. So in terms of, so the basics is the mode of transportation plays a very important role in reducing the logistic cost, right? So which means the cheapest mode of transport has to be used more, and then the subsequent mode of transport has to be used. And there, if you see the mode of transport, this is one strategy. What is the challenge with sea mode of transport or even rail mode of transport versus if we say someone is using road? Just
First mile and last mile connectivity.
first mile, last mile connectivity is an issue. Okay. People understand what's first mile. Why it is an issue today?
Sir, because of the not proper roads and connectivity available to the remote areas of the country. Also,
No, I would, okay. Mostly you are right, okay. But see, we are comparing rail versus road, okay. Say some customer is already, or some industry is already using road as a transport. They are already connecting up to the remote part of country directly through road, right? Now we are telling them to convert it to rail because it is more effective. Then what could be the potential challenges one may face?
No proper integration of moves.
So between rail and road there is no tight integration. So someone has to coordinate कि पहले rail से उतरा नहीं उतरा माल, बाद में road पे चढ़ा नहीं चढ़ा. All those challenges, which is kind of first mile, last mile issues, which he is talking about. Any other challenges? I'll tell you. Think of your road transportation as an expense. It's very simple. So first we talked about mode of transport. Okay. The second is also with respect to volume. Okay. Volume is, if you move volume in large, which someone was talking about economies of scale, the cost per unit also goes down. Okay. And that is where road transport actually moves smaller units, while rail and coastal ship kind of moves larger volume, and that is where cost per unit also comes down. Take simple examples. Okay. For example, you people take Ola, Uber or auto, right? What will be the per kilometer cost? Just 30 rupees, all right? 20 rupees, 20 to 30 rupees, okay? what is the distance between Ahmedabad to, say, Delhi?
900.
900 to 1000 kilometers. So if I take a auto rickshaw at 20 rupees, I'll have to pay 20,000 rupees. What is the airfare you pay? So that is the economies of scale. Okay. The more you kind of scale up, that logic holds true in any transportation, in any mode of transportation also. Within same mode of transportation also, if you use a larger vehicle size, larger truck size, the cost per unit will go down. So these are some of these basic principles of bringing the overall cost down. Right? If you go to US, which has wide roads, okay, they use a long trailer, several feet. Here if you use, they'll run through the major national highways, but will it kind of enter the cities? Not possible, right? So they have built that infrastructure of ensuring that large vehicle, large size of transportation can also move. And that is where their economies of scale or the per unit cost also goes down. So with that principle, one is the mode of transport, the other is the overall volume of the cargo. These are the two principles which brings the overall cost down. The other major challenge, okay, that's why I'm telling all of you to introspect the way you travel, okay, the way you spend your travel expenses. If you go, say, from Ahmedabad to Mumbai, 500 kilometer, you can take a direct taxi, okay, which is door to door. You don't have any hassles. And then if you have to take a train, तो यहाँ से station जाओ, auto ढूंढो, then again train चढ़ो, then again वहाँ station जाओ, because train cannot reach to the doorstep of the house. So then there are multi-mode options. But there is a hassle, right? Hassle कि तुम्हें auto ढूंढना है at first mile, last mile, everywhere. That challenge becomes even more difficult when you see cargo. Cargo में challenge क्या है? Handling involved. Every time a cargo has to be loaded and unloaded, you require labor, you require a lot of labor. And when you require labor, it becomes expensive. First you need road transportation, then you also need labor at the switching of mode of transportation. That is where it becomes slightly difficult. So general thumb rule people say, which also you apply in your travel expenses, is short to medium distance hai, so you take direct road, right? Who is going to take hassle of going to the train and again looking for auto? Take a direct. That is how all for shorter distance generally road transport is preferred. But as you go longer, despite cost of handling or labor, rail cost becomes cheaper. Okay? The general thumb rule people say 400, 500 kilometer beyond you should use rail because that is more economical. If you have an option. If you don't have an option, there is no rail network in nearby in your industry, you can't use it at all. But if you have a rail option, generally it becomes more economical. These are general thumb rule. There could be exceptions on both ways. So beyond 400, 500 kilometers, you start using rail. So despite first mile cost, last mile cost, and labor handling cost, you will still be able to, you will still be cheaper with rail. So this is the other kind of thumb rule which all of you should note it down, which mode of transport should be used and when. The other thing is, as we are growing as a country and prospering also, the average incomes are also rising. Labor has become expensive, and also getting labor is also difficult. When I say getting labor is, you cannot get labor all the time. If there are festivals, if there is high demand in some other industry, you will not get enough labor. And all the transportation which requires high intensive labor handling, it becomes very market dependent. There is no surety, reliability whether you will be able to transport the cargo or not. And that is where automation, mechanization, all will play a very critical role, how effectively can we transport. Okay. And that is where one of the wonderful kind of, I would say, innovation in last few decades, innovation and then the standardization is the container transportation, okay, container shipping. Because that standardization has been kind of adopted across the globe, 20 feet, 40 feet trailer, and that is where it also avoids handling. You require less labor intensive and less labors, and it is completely compatible with ship and then rail and then the road. So the trains are designed for handling such boxes, the trucks are designed for such boxes, and even the ships are designed for such boxes. So that standardization has helped us a lot in kind of addressing the challenges of the multimodal which we were talking about, where you require labor or where every time you shift from one mode of transport to the other mode of transport, then it becomes a challenge. So what as Adani we are doing, I will kind of take you through to the specifics here. But as far as some of the fundamentals and basics are concerned, so far is so good. Any questions? Think of everything which comes to our country. कैसे मैनेज होता है? Think of everything. We import coal, we import oil, we import electronics. How come oil container में आ सकता है क्या? हाँ, तो tanker ships होता है. So for that, the mode of transport is not only the ships, and from ships we kind of take it to some of the tank farms. We have pipeline connected somewhere. Somewhere we have conveyor belt. So pipeline and conveyor belt is also one of the mode of transport, I would say, especially for large volume, low cost mode of transport. But all this requires a lot of capex investment. बराबर बहुत ज़्यादा capex चाहिए to put it. So overall, that is where the logistics plays a very key role in all the industry. And let me take an example of, say, since we have also acquired cement as cement as a commodity, okay, was discovered almost 500 years back, okay. The process of cement manufacturing has not changed in last 500 years. Maybe a few additives must have changed over the period. Instead of gypsum, now we are adding fly ash and all. But the basic process of cement has not changed in last many centuries. So when the process of cement is same across the globe, how do you compete in the market? Because सब लोग के पास तो same formula है, सभी लोग cement बना रहे same. One could be the branding and other part which we. The other part is in cement is the logistic cost. So logistic cost itself in overall cost contributes to almost 33%. So if you are competitive enough in logistic cost, then you can get better profits. Because price wise, since every cement manufacturing is the same process, the price is going to be almost very competitive. Okay, so in manufacturing cost, you can't kind of do much innovation to reduce the cost. So what is the other way? Is to reduce the logistic cost. Now logistic cost being 1/3 of the overall cost, it plays a very kind of crucial role. So there, if you are distributing, now we have a capacity of close to 60 million ton. So if 60 million ton, if you are distributing across the country, then it becomes very important which mode of transport, what distance, how are we kind of manufacturing, which is the manufacturing hub, which is the consumption hub, and that is where a very critical role or a critical activity is called as sales and operation planning, which is called SNOP. I mean SNOP, there you need to forecast which will be the consumption centers, okay, and that is where, and then you need to build up capacities in terms of manufacturing, and also you need to build up capacities in terms of logistics, whether how much trains you will be required, how much trucks will be required, where will be the warehouses, what will be the locations. And that is where the entire SNOP or planning tool becomes a very crucial. If you go fail in planning, your actual cost may even go high than what you had estimated. Okay, and that is where the planning part is very critical in all the industries, including the war part. Okay, in the even war, if someone is, they have to estimate कि वहाँ कितना guns चाहिएगा, how many guns will be required, how much bombs will be required, and they need to transport that much. Okay, and if they go wrong in that, then they will end up more ammunition in one location, while the battle must be at some other location. Then you lose the war. That is why the sales and operation plan is very, very critical. And that is where in all the logistics and transportation within the private entity, the SNOP plays a very critical role. There are a lot of tools, there are a lot of AI enabled SNOP tools also available in the market, which people should now people have started adopting it over the period. Because there is a lot of data which is this is so much data driven that it becomes practically difficult for a human to plan such optimization. That is where these tools help us to get the best out of the overall plan. Let me give you an example, then you will be able to appreciate. Say in cement, we have 30 plants across the country, different states everywhere. Okay. We serve, say, more than 5,000 talukas across the country, even the remotest part of the country. Among all the talukas, we need to estimate what will be our demand for, say, next month or next 3 months. And then accordingly, we need to tell our manufacturing unit, this is the amount of cement you need to supply, produce, and the logistics people to tell this many trucks and this many trains will be required. Okay. And then run an overall optimization where the tool will tell which taluka or which district in the country will be served from which plant and in which mode of transport. Okay. You must have gone through a typical transportation problem, where kind of you see there are 3 manufacturing areas and 3 consumption. So this is a small matrix of 3 by 3. But if you expand it to maybe 30 by 5,000, it becomes practically difficult to manually. So those transportation models are kind of taught to you so that you know the basics behind it. Okay. Now when we so that you know how the tool in the back end works. And that is where their SNOP kind of runs. And when the SNOP runs, then it will give you the most optimized output in terms of cost and so that is why the sales and operating plan is a very integrated activity in overall logistics strategy. Okay, so that is the other part which I want all of you to take away. While we have talked a lot on logistics cost, we have not talked about how do you measure the logistics service. Okay, what are the service levels? So how do you measure the efficiency which you was talking about operational efficiency? Okay. Or if someone has to measure the service level efficiency, how do you measure it? Any ideas? Anyone has to measure, what will be the measurements? Just guess, there is nothing wrong.
Reaching the target in time.
So one is target in time. So time is one of the factor. Perfect. Time is other factor.
Turnaround time.
Turnaround time is a operational efficiency, but in terms of service level, if you have to define, turnaround time may not be a service level. It may be a operational efficiency, but if someone has to measure service level, what should be the metrics? One is the time. Being on time is one of the metrics, right? Other could be damages. Okay, damages or right.
Direct and indirect costs.
Direct and for service level, we cannot say. Cost is one of the factor, one of the KPI, but in terms of service, we may not measure direct and indirect cost.
Maybe the value-added services.
Value-added services, okay, but it cannot be metrics. It cannot be. I am talking about metrics. So one time is definitely there. The other is called what do we say? The overall one is the time target. The other is the volume or quantity target. Okay, and in general terms, in logistics terms, this is called OTIF, which is called on time and in full. Okay, so if you have an order for 5 shirts, okay, if I deliver you 4 shirts but on time, still I have missed the service level. But I deliver you 5 shirts but late, again I have missed the service level. So on time and full are the 2 biggest kind of parameters which gets measured in terms of service levels. That is kind of industry standards benchmark across different industry and across different regions. Okay, whether you are in a fashion industry, e-commerce industry, or even a bulk industry like coal, steel, cement, this can be measured as on time and in full. Both has to be met, and then only kind of you meet the service level. So while we have talked a lot on the cost part, we have not talked much about the service level. So when we say service level, as a customer, you will always demand everything instantaneously, right? Okay, if you go to Amazon, you have 1 day delivery now, but you do not have everything on 1 day delivery. But as a customer, you want everything 1 day delivery, right? So as a customer, you will always demand. So service level can be measured in terms of on time in full. Okay, on time is because you have ordered same day delivery. I want everything in same day delivery. But at what cost? Okay. Now here, at this place, both the cost and the service level kind of come together. Okay, and there is a concept called cost to serve. Okay, what do you mean by cost to serve? Is that to reach this service level, what is the cost we are incurring? Okay. If customer demands everything in say 2 hours, like hot pizzas, I want delivery, we can still do it, but it will not come at this cost. It will come at a higher cost, right? But someone is telling, okay, I don't want anything in same day. You can take 7 days, but give me at the cheapest cost. Then there will be a different cost for that particular service level. Understood? So cost to serve is a very important concept which most of the people in the industry kind of doesn't understand well, because people will always say, "Arey, mujhe service level mila nahi, service level," and service level expectation will keep on increasing. Okay, I always coin this that service level is like walking on an escalator in the opposite direction. Okay, every time you step up, the escalator will take you down. So in terms of service level, you will continuously improve every day. But the moment you stop, you will become less effective in the market. So you need to continuously improve. But at the same time, you need to also take care of what is the cost element. Okay, and that is where cost to serve is a very important concept, that at what service level, what is the cost you are incurring, and kind of. So that is the other kind of concept I want to take you through. So in all the industry, or whichever industry you join, or whichever role you join, you should realize all these concepts are very kind of basic fundamentals to logistics, irrespective of any industry you go in, any domain you join. Any questions so far? I have not covered all these things because I am sharing all these things based on my experience. Okay, I have not prepared any presentation. I have a standard presentation of what Adani and as a group and logistics we are doing. But this is what I have learned through my experience. All these things were not taught in our classes, and that is where I think all of you should know some of these concepts very clearly. And there are a lot of deeper and basic further concepts which we kind of studied in terms of in their stint, asset utilization and fuel efficiency and other. But those are very basic which you will kind of learn anywhere you go. Any questions so far? No? Okay. So now I'll kind of take youth. Yeah.
So being Adani, we have all kind of sources of for coal. Like we have source, we have networking and all. So how much our cost declines in respect to other companies?
In terms of coal, you mean?
Yes.
Right. So I think that must be one of the key lever which a chairman must have thought when he acquired cement also, because we have our own coal trading company. Okay, coal is imported through our own ports. Okay, we also have a lot of coal domestic mines where we are the operator. Coal is being consumed by power industry through Adani Power, and also the Adani Cement also consumes a lot of power for generating cement and all. So all those synergies are definitely being kind of carved out at a group level. And in terms of overall efficiency, if you see some of our recent books, you will see that overall cost of manufacturing cement and other has also gone down because of these synergies. And that is where it has kind of improved our EBITDA also. Because we have that expertise over the period, right? Because I think these people were working in one of the mines, right? If you last year, if you recall, that was in a remote part of Madhya Pradesh. It was called Suliari Mines. Okay, now the Suliari Mines that was being operated by Adani Enterprises. Okay, it was supplying coal to Mahan Energy Limited, which was Adani power plant. And it was also supplying coal to other power plant also, which through multimodal through rail. Now, recently we have started supplying through the same mines to our cement company also, ACC and all. So, which we are bringing back your question. That synergy is being worked out every day as and when, and that is kind of being reflecting in our books also, in terms of improvement in EBITDA, improvement in cost also. So good question. I mean that way, that synergy across the network, where are our mines, where are the power plant, where are the cement plant, which is the best source based on the requirement of coal GCV, that is being kind of worked out continuously. So I have covered the basics. Now I am going to cover more of the Adani part of it. If you don't have any specific question, then I'll move forward. I wanted to be more interactive. मतलब तुम्हारे पास कोई भी और questions हो तो सोच को बताओ. I don't want to. हाँ बोलो.
I have a question that in Adani Logistics give services to their own verticals. So obviously the cost that compared to other third-party logistics would be comparatively much more lesser. But how would Adani Logistics will gain a lot of profit compared to?
So okay. Let me again say, even when we see there is logistics, one Adani Group company giving services to Adani Group company, it is at a arm's length principle. Okay, we have to compete with the rest of the logistics service provider in the market and be equally competitive and equally effective in terms of cost and service both. If say Adani Power tomorrow find a vendor outside which is more cheaper in terms of service, then they'll move. There is no kind of restriction on that part. So that way we have to compete in the market itself. We cannot go and tell just because we are a group company, take our services. That is not, and that is true for any group conglomerate, whether it will go to Aditya Birla, Tata, whatever synergies between the group companies, that has to be, they have to compete in the market. There is no other way. One group company can give service to the other group companies.
So isn't it more profitable if we give services to other companies rather than the vertical?
Correct. So that is the other way around also true. If say someone is ready to pay more, then obviously the logistics service can be given to the other group company, other company outside the group, which is giving more profit to us. That way it's true everywhere.
So it's not like an obligation that first we have to.
Never. It's never an obligation. The moment you start giving, so this is a general principle everywhere. Okay. The moment you start giving service just because of obligation, then there will be a lot of inefficiencies in the system, and people will not take care of it because people will say, "ये तो obligation करना है," तो even at loss making it becomes. So that principle is never ever followed in any industry.
So transfer pricing is basically the cost plus margin profit to group companies. It's not only the cost.
Correct. It's not only the cost. It's a complete transfer pricing concept which we see, where it has to be competitive in the market, and we have to beat the market if you have to win the contract. So that way it is very clear. So this is the overall group presence. I'm sure you know everything, right from ports, logistics to power. Now we have entered in big way in renewables also. We were already present in transmission, natural gases, agri-logistics, gas distribution and all. Maybe I'll take a little pause and kind of elaborate more about one of the projects I recently started giving transportation services, and that was in one of the remote area of Khavda, which is almost 150-200 kilometers beyond Bhuj, very close to Pakistan border, okay, in Gujarat. That is a completely desert area. Okay, if you see, there is you will not even find a single animal around. Okay, there now we are building the largest renewable park It's renewable park, not only solar, because it's a combination of wind and solar. Largest renewable park in the world. Okay, so huge land, but it's completely wasteland. Okay, we do not have any access to water. We do not have any access to food. We do not have any access to internet. Okay, now only when you go there you realize there is no internet, and you will get internet only if you travel 100 kilometers from that particular place. So no internet in a range of 100-kilometer area. Now you just imagine if both of us are working, and if you kind of just walk away from me 100 meters, and if I'm shouting, and if you are not able to listen, I can't communicate with you at all. There is no communication at all. And this is being worked in a very large area. Okay, when we say largest renewable park, it is not a small area. It's not. Any guess how big the size of that area must be?
26 kilometer by or something.
In terms of acres, maybe people understand in terms of acres how big, in terms of how many big acres. 200 acres. Any it's little higher than 200 acres.
Near than 1,000.
1,000 acres. It's 70,000 acres. Now just imagine working in that area without an internet.
So with that walkie-talkie system, communication can be helpful.
Walkie-talkie also requires a close range, na?
At some distance you can install networking system for walkie-talkie.
हाँ.
Develop our own communication system in that area.
Correct. So setting up own communication system, but setting up own communication system, if you see, only few people in the country has got license.
Yes, now Adani is
So if you recall, last year when telecom, these waves were kind of being auctioned, and Adani kind of participated, and there was a lot of news that we are going to compete with Jio and all. But there we clearly kind of said in our statement that this is being used for a private consumption, okay, not for, okay. And this was the vision of our chairman, where we are kind of developing such remote sites in such remote areas where there is no connectivity at all. And that is where then we actually set up the entire network first in that remote area of that 70,000 acres. And then we kind of started building. But if you people get a chance, because it's very close by to Ahmedabad, and a lot of people go for that White Sand Run festival, Kutch festival and it's very nearby to that particular area. You should go and visit. You will actually feel very proud about the way the entire area has been developed now. It's very a similar story of the way Mundra has been developed. Okay, if you see, I don't know whether you people have watched the video of how Mundra kind of was developed over the years. Okay, when I was in Aditya Birla Group, when we used to set up aluminum plant of Hindalco or cement plant of Ultratech. Okay, what we used to say is that when a plant is developed, okay, it's not just people working in that plant, but the adjoining area also kind of gets developed. Okay, so we used to take a general thumb rule of आसपास के 10, 15, 20 किलोमीटर का एरिया पूरा डेवलप होता है, आसपास सारे गांव डेवलप होते हैं. Everybody gets a job. There is a secondary job, tertiary job. People kind of set up small shops and everything. But when Mundra got developed, okay, it's not just 20, 25. Almost 150 kilometer radius got developed. Okay, so the power of such ports and logistics is that the moment you reduce the logistics cost and accessibility to the world through our port, lot of industry gets set up. Lot of industries get set up, and then they thrive and they kind of grow faster. Similarly, there are a lot of such stories in our ICDs also, which ICDs are kind of dry ports. I'll take you through, where our customers have actually grown many folds just because of our ICD was set up. Okay, then it becomes very heartening to see the infrastructure which we have developed today, how kind of it is helping industry to grow faster and become competitive at a global level also. So Khavda is one of the sites which we people should visit. How that the renewable energy is being both solar and wind is being developed. And it's state of the art. Okay, the entire solar panel with automatic robotic cleaning and everything, the state of the art the initial target is to develop 12 gigawatt renewable energy. Any idea what you understand power generation? Some of the people are taking energy also, right? Oh, energy as a subject. So 5 gigawatt is termed as the massive super power plant, right? Okay, now we are talking about 12 gigawatt as first phase just from renewable. Now, so you understand the amount of impact it is going to create for our country. But what I was trying to make a point is that we are converting all those kind of marshy land, wasteland into gold mine of energy and of making country as a hub of renewable energy, and our dependency on coal and other part will kind of bring it down as a group. So that is where I was talking about Adani renewables here. Obviously, we are into airports, real estate, data centers. So they're now into cement also in a big way. So what is our overall aim of Adani Ports and Logistics? Is to become the world's largest transport utility by 2030. Okay, when we say transport utility, it's combination of three parts. One is our ports, and then there is a special economic zone which is covering the area around the port, where people can develop their industries with respect to they have land availability, they have electricity availability, they have water availability, what all basic things they are required. And then it is integrated with our logistics, where we kind of link all these ports to the hinterland of our country also. Okay, that is where I'm going to go a little faster on this, because these are a lot of things will also be available on the internet. And within that, Adani Logistics, our target is to be most diversified end-to-end logistics service provider in the country. So these are some of the offerings which we give through logistics. We are into container movement, we are into bulk, we are into break bulk, we also transport liquid, we also transport big way in automobile, and we also do a lot of transportation, integrated solution for grain, all food grains and all. I have covered a small case study of automobile also for Maruti. Okay, you know, like Maruti is kind of the number one in our country, but you should also know that Maruti is one of the biggest exporters also. Now, how they export? If it is one of the biggest exporter, which means it is very cost competitive also, right? If someone is competing with a market, say in Latin America or Europe or Africa, sending all the automobiles from here, it is competing with their homegrown automobile industry, and still they are cost effective, right? And that is why I'll show you a small case study how even Maruti is kind of reducing their logistic cost, and how Adani Logistics is helping them reduce the logistic cost. Okay, these are some of our capabilities. We have 104 trains, rakes of our own. Okay, we have 11 multimodal logistics park. A multimodal logistics park are nothing but we also call them as triports. These are the logistics park which are connected to the seaports through rail connectivity, and also we also have all the custom clearance and other facilities based out of this. And then for last mile connectivity, all the truck and other connectivity are also in place. We have our own trucks, we have our own logistics park, trains. We also have set up 20 silo locations for our agri-business. Okay, across the country we are available at 50 plus different sites, and we are also into warehousing, grade A warehousing. Okay, which is we already developed 3 million plus square feet of grade A warehousing for some of our big e-commerce companies like Flipkart and all. Okay, this is the breakup of our overall rail operations. We have 50 container trains. Okay, 44 bulk trains. Okay, 3 auto trains, auto freight trains, and 7 for agri product trains. People can stop me if you have any questions anywhere. Yeah.
On the engines also, or only the wagons?
Only the wagons. Only the wagons. Engine has to be part of Indian Railways, because they only run it. Stop me if you have any questions. We are running right on time.
Do you use your own assets like trucks and all, or do you also use leased vehicles also?
For trucks you are talking about, there is a next slide on trucks. I'll take you through that. On trains, if you have any question, or rail operation, you can ask. So if you see some of the photographers, this is our auto freight train. These are the silos. This is a double stack container train. This is the GPWIS bulk cargo train where we carry coal and other bulk commodities.
The operations for railways is only Adani operations, or it's also you give it out to other parties?
Other parties also. We are kind of train operator for Hindalco, and we do it for all different industries, not necessarily only for Adani. Okay. This is our multimodal logistics park which we were talking about. I was talking about one of the recent acquisition of Tumb, which is in South Gujarat near Vapi, and there we have seen a lot of industries which has flourished after Tumb actually came into picture, and their production has almost gone multiple fold times in last 4 or 5 years, just because of their logistic cost has gone down, and they become more competitive in the overall landscape. There is one more which is under construction in Virochannagar, which is near Sanand in Ahmedabad. It is almost 1500 acre. That will be one of the largest in the country once it is ready.
Are like under lease?
So,
The logistic parks are with the agreement with the government, or is owned by?
No, this is completely owned by us. There is nothing. So there are few areas where if it belongs to government, we get in tie-up with them and then we lease it out. But there are very few. We recently had not government, it is CWC owned. It is owned by Indian Railways, and that is also, if you read the recent Gati Shakti policy which they have, that is where the government wants the private player to own it, lease it out, and run it privately. But most of these are kind of owned by us. The land is our own. We have acquired the land first. We have set up the railway line. We have set up the entire yard. We have set up where we will have a container facility, where will be the customs office. If there is agriculture commodity, then we have set up the silos. So that is completely owned and run by us. The train operations, the yard ICD operations, multimodal logistics park operations, the truck operation is completely owned by us. And we are serving all the different industry. As I said, we have the white good industry, we have FMCG industry, all kinds of. We have not kind of whatever comes in container can kind of becomes a direct customer for us.
So Concor also has many NCDs across. So wouldn't they clash with the demand?
Correct. So Concor is again is a competition for us in the market. Okay. Now what Concor services what Concor gives the service is mostly the train services. What we are trying to stitch up here is we give end-to-end service right from port to the doorstep of the customer, including the road services, even the warehousing services. Okay. See, in most of the places, if you see, there are many MSME companies in the country who do not have huge storage place. Okay, and they have a lot of seasonal demands also. Okay, so for example, if they have only 3 months of demand, they cannot acquire a warehouse or a land for entire year and then set up the entire operations, right? So what they do, they'll tell us, यार 3 महीने का मेरा peak है, please store at your logistics park and I'll pay you whatever you need. So that way we kind of give them end-to-end solution. It's not just the train services or road services. So for them, what we tell them, you forget your any headache with respect to logistics. Okay, we'll give you from end to end, door to door delivery. You focus on your expertise of if you are marketing or if you are manufacturing, you focus on your expert area. But logistics part will kind of stitch for you end to end. You don't have to worry how the cargo comes to you. We'll bring it to your doorstep. We bring you through rail, through road. You don't have to worry that at all.
So it's five. This shows a 5P characteristic of eliminating all the logistics. So it's a 5. You provide 5 tools also.
People can say 5PL. There are no standard definition of what is 3PL, 4PL or 5PL. But finally, we are kind of giving them a solution, but not just a part of logistics service.
Sir, can the ICDs be upgraded to MMLPs or are they two different entities?
No. So I'll tell you, multimodal logistics park means it is capable of handling multiple mode of transportation, which means rail and road both combined to put together, or if it is connected to coastal or even inland waterways also. So multimodal logistics park by definition means it is able to handle multiple mode of transportation. Within these, since these are many things are connected with the imports and exports, we also need a customs office also. So a lot of container or cargo which comes to port may not get cleared from at the port. The same cargo in container will come all the way up to multimodal logistics park, and there will be a custom office which will clear it. See, the advantage of such multimodal custom office in the multimodal logistics park is that they have to pay the custom duty once it is clear. Okay, which means they will only clear when they require it. Okay, they'll bring the cargo and then they'll pay the custom duty and then they'll clear it. If it is at ports, and there is a lot of congestion at ports because entire country's cargo is coming through port, we cannot keep piling thing at the port. And then once, say, port is in Mundra or at JNPT, and you require something in Delhi, then if you clear the cargo, then all the way you have to again plan for transportation and all. And that is where what they do, they bring the cargo to the multimodal logistics park, which is nearest to their factory, and then clear it through the custom and then take the cargo. So ICD and multimodal logistics park are the same. ICD, but the definition of ICD, it should have a customs office for clearance for imports and exports. Clear? And yeah.
So we have expanded the company all over India, but there are some also resources which are applicable to us, basically steel, coal and all. So there are sources in Seven Sisters, so like it can be, but how it can be ventured in that area of India?
No, can you?
So basically we are diversified in all over the India.
Correct. We have spreaded our location across the country, correct.
But still we are not on this side of east.
On the eastern part?
Yeah.
We are there in the eastern part.
So,
not through ICDs. Okay, that's an interesting question. I'll tell you. I'll just do. So we are there on the eastern part also, if you see. Our total capacity on the east coast is 247 million metric ton. On the west coast it is 355. Okay. Now this is our port capacity. Okay. Now I am now going to stitch all the learnings which I give you in the start of the lecture. Okay. What I said is generally, so these all multimodal logistics park are connected to port through rail, right? And then we do the last mile or first mile connectivity through road. I also said that generally rail becomes more economical beyond 500 kilometers. Okay. Now the same principle, if you see, it is, look, there are so many ports across the southern part of our country. Okay. And if you see, if you just mark a 500 kilometer radius, you will see most of the part will directly get covered through road, which means you don't require many multimodal logistics park. So what is the basic fundamentals of ICD or MMLP? It should connect the seaport with the hinterland through rail. Okay. Which means the only part of the country which is not connected to the seaport is the northern part of our country.
and also sir, Seven Sisters.
and northeast, part of northeast. And that is where, if you see, most of the ICDs you will find in these areas. Okay, because for in these areas, you do not require an ICD. The moment it gets custom clear, anything can be directly transported to roads to the end customer. And that is why if you see our map also, there will be less ICDs in the southern part, but more in the northern part of the country. Sorry. So far, so only one exception is Tumb, which is in Vapi, and I'll tell you the reason why it was developed. But this is how I hope I have answered your question.
We saw the Adani ports financial statements and show that the primary cargo movement is from Mundra and the rest play a very small role.
Correct.
In this. So like, how will they be more utilized? Because you're trying to acquire more ports each day, trying in either. So like, wouldn't it be too much supply of like services in the sense?
See, how should I answer? It's a belief, okay, which our chairman has in the growth and development of our country, okay, and that belief is what taking us ahead, okay. If someone have said the same thing about Mundra 20 years back, someone would have said, "Arey Mundra में कहाँ इतना बड़ा infrastructure डाल रहे हो? यहाँ तो कोई industry, there is no industry here, there is no cargo here. Who is going to come?" But he has a vision of 50 years ahead. Okay, whenever we kind of interact with him, I have interacted with a lot of leaders in my previous organizations also. But I am very fortunate to kind of interact. So I call Gautam Bhai as our first generation entrepreneur. Okay, if you see Reliance or Aditya Birla, there are now second or third generation of entrepreneurs. So the interacting with the thoughts of first generation entrepreneur are completely different, and I kind of get mesmerized many times. So whenever I interacted with previous leaders in my previous organization, they talk about 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the line. Okay, that is the thought process. But when we talk about our chairman, he talks about 50 and 100 years from now. Okay, so what you see today, we might be only looking at what will happen in next 5-10 years, but these are being built for next 50 or 100 years. Okay, and that is where we'll see the difference. A clear case studies of Mundra. 20 years down, 20 years back, nobody must have thought that Mundra will become such large-scale port. Okay. So that is the way I would say answer your question. Similarly, there is one more kind of project which our National Logistics Policy has laid down, apart from Gati Shakti and all, is the DFC, the Dedicated Freight Corridor. Okay. Today, if you see, what you answered that 70% is through road and 30% is through rail. One of the reason is that rail is definitely cost economical, but it takes more time and it's not very reliable, because obviously the passenger train are a priority, and that is where the cargo trains take a back seat. With DFC coming, that will be a big advantage of rail over road, because then even the rail cargo services will be running faster and will be competing with road. So especially on those circuits where DFC is coming up, a big chunk of road will shift to rail. Today, lot of e-commerce moves through road only, because these are all time-bound deliveries. Okay, Amazon people want same day delivery, next day delivery. We cannot wait for train to travel the same distance 2 or 3 days, which road is traveling in say 24 hours. But with DFC coming, this will become a completely game changer for. So these are our multimodal logistics park locations. Similarly, we have warehousing solutions across the country. Okay, this is our GPWS portfolio, which is the bulk rake which I was talking about. And bulk rakes are mostly, if you see, are running on the eastern part, where we have a lot of coal mines and other requirement, coal, bauxite, steel. Okay, this is our road logistics. Coming back to your question, we have our 900 owned trucks. Okay, and everything kind of we have owned in last 1 year only after I have joined, we had this vertical was not present for us earlier. But we also partner with 3PL, and we must be hiring close to 2,000 more trucks from the market as well. So overall, 3,000 to 4,000 trucks we use on a monthly basis, and we have both our own and 3PL trucks as well. To answer, somebody was asking the question. Okay. Each of these subjects is very interesting. Okay. In interest of time, I am kind of skimming through. This is about the grain logistics, which I was talking about, where Adani Agri is leading. This is also very critical for our country from, I think, So, from our country perspective, because there is a lot of wastage in terms of agriculture and all, there are a lot of, so this is also state-of-the-art facility, okay, where the way the agricultural food grain is stored, it is tested automatically. There is a lot of quality assurance. There are 8 parameters on which government has kind of laid down. All this is tested automatically and without any human intervention. Okay? So, if you find some time, you should go and visit these facilities also. These are some of the snapshots which I have captured. Quickly, I'll take you through one of the case study. Okay. Now, what we do, there are 2 case studies. The left part, this is about the automobile. Okay. So, one of our automobile customer in Manesar near Delhi, it imports steel coils. Okay. So, what we do is we bring those steel coils from Mundra, load it in our trains, take it to the customer, do the last mile delivery to the customer and their factory. Based on those steel coils, they make the passenger vehicles, and then we take the same finished product, final product, if you see, again back in the container, and through rail we bring it back to the port and we export it across the globe. Okay, so this is a complete round cycle. We use rail, which is the most economical. We also have, so one of the other efficiency in terms of operational efficiency is the empty miles. Okay, the empty miles or empty distance a particular train or truck is running. So we have reduced that also to 0. So this is the most efficient way of running the overall operations. Similarly, we do it for one of our chemical customer also. These are some of the strategy which we are kind of trying to redefine. How to become how do we build agility, readiness for the future? How do we build a supply chain which is customer and product centric? How do we prepare a network and ecosystem which is very digitally driven? And obviously all this has to be in a sustainable and safe manner. Okay, we have target of carbon neutral by 2025. We are kind of moving through solar powered lighting, rain harvesting. We have tried a lot of alternative energies in terms of LNG. Couple of months back we were driving electric trucks also. Many things are not available in the market easily. Okay, LNG trucks are not available in the market. EV trucks are not available in the market easily. And so we are trying out. Obviously, that industry will also grow and mature, and then I think we'll be able to adopt faster. That's it from my side. I think these are some of the social initiatives. If you people are interested, I'll kind of circulate it separately. I hope I was able to add some value to your curriculum. I can say logistics is so exciting, okay, because I learn every day. I've been learning from last 11 years, and still I think I have not learned even half of what is available, or what an expert should actually learn. And it is evolving so fast every day that you will never feel kind of bored in this industry. That I can definitely take and give you an heads up, being in this industry from such a long time. Every day it is very exciting. One advice, okay, I would like all of you to, because I see a lot of challenges when I see a lot of young people coming to this industry is most of them want to do something digital. Okay, I want to take a digital role. I want to be in head office and do some strategy. My takeaway is first few years you should be at site. Even if you think अरे इसके लिए थोड़ी मैंने MBA किया, ये तो मैं ऐसे भी कर सकता था. Okay, this is not for you to learn that particular activity. This is for you to learn what are the challenges the on-ground or front-line team faces. Okay, and that is where I would advise everybody to take a operations kind of role initially in your career. And once you are familiarized with you understand things, you understand site dynamics, you understand people dynamics, you understand all the operational dynamics, then you take a kind of a role which is very strategic alignment or digital alignment. The other part is on digital front also. Okay, today the challenge which as a logistics leader I face is I have people who are very sharp on operational front. Okay, very sharp, and they enjoy operational roles also, but they are least interested in digital. Okay, or they don't understand digital at all. And there are other set of people who are very keen on digital. Okay, but they don't want to do operations, or they don't want to get into the details of operations also. Now, having both this skill set is not going to help us survive in the future. We need a skill set which is a combination of both. Okay. Otherwise, see, future has to be digitized, it has to be automated. There is no doubt about it. This has to go. Today, if I go at remote areas of one of my tasks or my vision is at all the remote locations, I do not require very intelligent or very academically qualified people. People should run with basic knowledge also. People should not be required to put their brains in taking any decisions, because the process and digital tools itself will take care of it. Okay, but to reach to that stage, we require a lot of people who has both the operation and digital knowledge. Maybe let me give you a small example. For example, when Elon Musk came with driverless cars. Okay, now one of the most of the job which will get lost is the drivers. Okay, people will lose, or most of the drivers will lose their job if 20, 30 years, 40 years down the line, if this becomes reality across the globe. But all the drivers who can give input to Elon Musk today to how to make these drivers, how to make these cars driverless, those are the people who are going to survive and going to kind of survive outside or kind of grow faster in their career. Okay. And that is where we require people who has a combination of both, who understand digital, who understand operations, who understand analytics. So at least the early part of your career, don't hesitate to take up any site roles. Okay, it's a stepping stone. You should learn all the site understanding. There are a lot of dynamics. These people were there in 2 months at one of the remote site. They know the type of challenges they have faced there. Okay, even implementing a small project, there is a lot of challenges. The other challenge is a lot of people will always say, अरे यार ये तो MBA करके आया, इसको तो ऑपरेशन कुछ समझ में आता नहीं है, ये हेड ऑफिस में बैठ गया, इसको कौन समझाएगा, ये कुछ भी बोलता है. सो द ऑपरेशन साइड टीम विल से अरे जस्ट इग्नोर हिम. ओके, ये MBA वाले को कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है. एंड द MBA गाय विल से अरे यार ये साइट वाले हमारा कुछ सुनते नहीं है, इतना हमने नए प्रोसेस डिजिटल टूल्स बनाए, कुछ यूज़ नहीं करते, इनको कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है, इनको MBA करनी चाहिए था ऐसा. So there will always be a conflict, and the organizations and the teams who won is who bring this synergy between these two operations and digital part. Okay, so that's my final takeaway to everyone as a career advice. Thank you. Then thank you very. That's it from my side. In the interest of time.
Okay. On behalf of all of you, I thank Mr. Arya to take his time out and share his experiences and knowledge with us. And I'm sure there is still a long way to cover for all of you, and he will guide you wherever if you need any support or any assistance.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Big round of applause. A small
Thank you, sir.
welcome from
Thank
the
you.
institute.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.